No, 2021. 2021, I did an event, one of our first events in Tampa, Florida, with Veterans Growing America. We did a Veteran Business Expo. And we had this company, this security company called the Rat Pack, as one of our vendors. And they stood out tremendously because the way that they did their business was explosive. And it left a mark on my head. I was like, what are they doing out here at a pop-up event with us when they're doing amazing things? Fast forward to earlier last year, I was at the Military Influencer Conference and I ran into the owner of the Rat Pack again, but I didn't know it. And he was a speaker at the Military Influencer Conference, and I was like, who is this motivational speaker? He looks familiar to me, but I didn't realize who he was. And it was an energy that he gave out in the room that I was like, this guy is somebody. But it was the same energy that I saw in the Rat Pack earlier. Fast forward to today, there was an event that I was supposed to go to that I couldn't go to because I thought it was at the same time as this event, so I told the guy I wasn't gonna make it. But something told me to show up to this event today. I was like, I need to go to this event. It was a men's empowerment event. I was like, I'm a man. I need to be empowered, right? But I really wasn't looking for nothing. I was just looking to be in the room because you never know what happens when you're in the room. You never know who you're gonna meet when you're in a room. And as soon as I walked in, the first person that I saw was the owner of the Rat Pack. I was like, what is he doing here? He lives in Florida. But I didn't know he was the owner of the Rat Pack at the time. I just remembered him from being at the Military Influencer Conference. Well, as the break came over, we shook hands, we started having conversations, and I told him about what we were having tonight. I was like, we're having Veterans Connect tonight. He looked at me, he was like, I want to come. I was like, what? Okay. As time went on and we jumped in the car, we started exchanging stories, I found out that he was the owner of the Rat Pack. Not only that, but there's a story behind the Rat Pack that y'all gonna hear tonight that made him who he is today. So today he is Dr. J.R. McIntyre. And Dr. J.R. McIntyre is going to share with y'all some information that will be earth-shattering, life-changing, and motivating at the same time. So y'all give him a round of applause to give him some love. Let's show some love for Dr. J.R. McIntyre!
Thank you, Sergeant Major. I appreciate you. Thank you, Virginia, for kindly bringing me out. I was at a men's event speaking this morning, and I ran back into Sergeant Major. And I was like, look how God works, right? So I didn't even know Sergeant Major was going to be at that event. I didn't even know that he was even in this area. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So yesterday I was supposed to fly out to keynote for the event today. And somehow my flight kept getting canceled. The devil was working. He was working fast. He was working hard. And it took a struck to my mental. I'm a 14-year veteran, mental health, PTSD, TBI, did 55 months in combat. Did a whole lot of things, good things in the military, but it kind of detoured me from getting on a plane to coming back to Virginia, to DC to speak. And this morning, I got back on the plane and I landed at 10:05. My event was 10:45. Got there, spoke, met some awesome people. Once I started to speak, and this is what I would tell you guys, all veterans, all entrepreneurs, you are your pilot of your own situation, right? You're your own algorithm. God has a plan for all of us. A lot of us are doing things, and don't take this the wrong way, that we're never supposed to do because God never gave you that gift. If you're chasing contracts and money and likes and the algorithm, God is going to bless you with all that, but he'll make you lose it too. right? So when I started my company, Rat Pack Worldwide Security, I didn't take care of this first. My mental, I was struggling. I did 77 days inpatient. When I got out, I was like, start a business. Hurricane Maria hit, started a security company. Boomed, out the gate. Multi-million-dollar company. Had Tampa Super Bowl, had Los Angeles Super Bowl, had Rolling Loud, had all these events. And I was booming. But guess what? God didn't want me to go that way. He kept telling me and showing me signs. Hey, you're going a long way, but you're going a long way, right? So I kept going. I'm chasing the money. I'm chasing the situation. I'm chasing networking. I went to school for entrepreneurship, and I did all these great things. Multi-million-dollar company, built from the ground up, had a brick and mortar, had a school, chasing contracts, getting contracts. Didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing the thing, right? And I was happy doing the thing. And I didn't know a lot of knowledge like my man in the back knew about contracting. So I was just pushing my effort, being stubborn and not listening to that, right? And here's the key message. If God is giving you a plan, you better listen. Because if you don't listen, you're going to get what you deserve, and God is going to show you that I tried to tell you not to go that way. And He's going to humble you in front of your peers. And COVID happened. Not only did COVID happen for all of us, I went bankrupt. I got scammed out of $800,000. I went bankrupt. My company was built around veterans. My business model, I was getting paid but paying other veterans to do a job that they didn't know how to do, right? I love my veterans. I'm a veteran. But I'm picking people out of crowd that was SAR first classes, E8, SAR majors, to do a job they never was supposed to be doing, right? And I took the blame for it, because when I went down, my books wasn't right. None of this stuff was right. My QuickBooks, everything. But guess what? Also, I had another veteran company that came to me and said, hey, how many of you guys know about the PPP loan? He said, hey, I know how to get PPP loans for disabled veteran companies. I let him do that. 2 years after that, the federals, FBI, come looking for me because he did a paper, bear with me, a copy and paste over 15 companies and took money, and all these companies that took the money, they got Ferraris, BMWs, all that. All my money went right back into QuickBooks because I was really suffering. I needed the money. I got $300,000. Don't laugh at me, but the next day the guy was like, hey, you gonna pay me my money? 10% was 30 grand. I gave him 30 grand the next day. He got me the money. I needed it. I was struggling. This is not a poor me conversation. This is to help somebody in this room. So I took the money, put it right back in my QuickBooks, paid the money. 6 months later, I was bankrupt. I had to close down my whole business. They knocked on my door, took my Range Rover, hunted me. Now I'm dealing with my 4th suicide ideation. Because guess what, veterans? When we get out the military, our whole identity after that is doing something that we thought that we knew we could do. My whole identity was Rat Pack. I had nothing else to give back to anybody else. I went in that dark corner. And guess what? We can start all these businesses and have all these entrepreneurship companies and programs and everything like that, but we don't have a program to help that veteran from struggling with that mental health of starting a business. Where's these companies at that can say, hey, you know what? I wouldn't do that if I was you, right? I didn't have that. Nor they didn't have a program. I was a single parent. When I went under, my money was being deducted because I took loans out. And now the loan sharks are after me. So every time I got paid, they was taking my money. So now I'm going to knock on the VA door and say, hey, I got 2 kids. Can you guys just give me a turkey or something? They didn't have a program to save me at all. So I squatted in my house like everybody else did. Embarrassed, ran and hid. After my company went down, nobody else would hire me. 14 years in the military, bachelor's degree, nobody would hire me. So I went back to school, got my master's degree. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not talking about education because I'm saying that everybody needs to get one. But when I didn't understand business, I went to go get my master's in business so I could understand the language of business. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go get an education. But guess what? What we don't do as veterans is go get something that can help us. We can teach one, each one, or each one teach one. And that's what I did. I got my master's, and I was a janitor at your favorite gym for 9 months, getting paid pennies, walking to work. My car wouldn't work. Embarrassed in front of the same people that I built my $1 million company. All these entrepreneurship programs that I went to, didn't even have a clue how to come get me. My mentor died. One of my best friends committed suicide. So all that was happening while I was doing my thing. And God was like, I told you to listen, boy. You didn't listen. You went a wrong way. You went a long way, and I'm proud of you, but you went the wrong way. So I'm doing all that, trying to get it right, and I'm working. And God said, you ready to listen? I said, yes. He sent a person to the gym. And the person had a construction company. And he made me a superintendent. So that was the most money I was able to see. But guess what? I'm still not knowledgeable because I'm collecting SSI and I'm not even supposed to work. That's how messed up I am. I'm 100% permanent total. So I'm not even supposed to be working, but I'm not knowing that. But they got a 56-month program that they allow you to work. So I did that to build myself back up. I wasn't trying to get the money. I just needed to get out the house before I kill myself, right? And I'm not saying everybody's going through suicide ideation, but I went through that, right? But after I went through that and understood who I was, I went to school and got my project management degree, my PMP, and my MBA to show myself that I can do it. I didn't want to prove anybody else wrong. I needed to prove myself right. I needed to understand who I am. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. We all in here, we want government contracts. Y'all in the best area in the world. VA, DC, Baltimore, they got all the government contracts. Guess what? I was doing it. I had to pass performance. I was locking it down. But God was like, I'm not going to bless you with that, because if I bless you with that, you're going to go crazy and kill somebody else, right? That's a whole lot of money we dealing with in the government contracts. Somebody will come up to you and say, I'll give you an $8 million contract. What you going to do with that if you don't know, if you don't have the infrastructure in your mind for that, right? So I'm glad I didn't get blessed with them heavy contracts. I'm glad God snatched the rug underneath my foot, because I wouldn't be here today to deliver that message. And after that, I started to speak life into myself at this gym. And my pastor was like, my dad's a bishop, my grandfather's a minister. I ran away from my gift. How many guys know that your gift will make room for you? I ran away from my gift. My gift is speaking. And I didn't want to be a preacher because I didn't want to copy my father. And I didn't think I had the right tools to preach. I'm not preaching to you guys. I'm talking to you guys. So I came up with a name, a brand. Speaking into my iPhone, delivering daily messages. I went viral. I call myself the Hood Motivator. I went to go get my doctorate in business as a Hood Motivator. Today I stand as number top 44, top 50 motivational speakers in the world. I'm traveling all over the world giving this message. And guess what? God has blessed me 10 times full with all the money I lost, all the heartache, all the friends, everybody that gave up on me because I didn't believe into myself. And that's what I want to tell you guys. I wrote a book right now. If you pull out your phones, go to Amazon, type in Dr. Jayr McIntyre. I'm gonna give you a gift tonight. Type that in. If you got Amazon, I'm gonna give you a blueprint real quick. The book I want to give you, I have 10 books on there. It's called The Power of the Pivot. Look at it. Dr. Jayr McIntyre. If you got it, raise your hand so I can know that you have it. If you have Kindle on there, go ahead and download that book. I'm gonna give you the skill set to understand how to pivot, but not only pivot the right way. Pivot the way God wants you to. And before that, you got to activate your gift. All of us have a gift inside of us. We shouldn't be following nobody else's gift but our own. God blessed us all with some sort of talent. And when we get out the military, we lose our identity when we take that uniform off. And we're searching for another identity. Your other identity is inside of you, like an Easter egg. It's a gift. Open it up and find it and pivot. And when you pivot the right way and pivot fast, right? So understand that. And I know you asked me, like, Jerry, you got 9 books on here. How was you able to do that? I was paying somebody else to $2,500 to write my books and put it out, and I thought that I didn't have the right smarts. I paid $2,500 for a lesson, and I was able to put 10 books out on Amazon, and now the real millionaires out here make money while you sleep. Your ecosystem needs to make you money while you sleep. Right now, my books get me booked $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $50,000 an hour to go speak at conferences. Not because I'm the smartest in the room, I just stayed the longest. I was consistent. I understood my mission that God wanted to give me. A lot of us are not understanding our mission. Why did we come here today? Why are we supporting Sergeant Major veterans to grow in America? First of all, we're doing that because it's networking. Second of all, because we love the man. Third of all, is because you got to believe in your product. You are the product. Don't do a business if you don't believe in it. Don't do it for money. I'm going to tell you right now. Don't start a business if you think you want to grow rich fast, because you're going to hit rock bottom. Start a business because you wake up every day and you're happy to give that product out, which is yourself. Yes, I named myself the Hood Motivator because I wanted people to question. But when you question that and you open up that onion and you peel it back, I did 14 years in the military. I got all my education. I got my PMP. Don't trip on me. You need to look at yourself. You need to understand who you are. Yeah, I'm walking here in my LA hat and my tennis shoes because guess what? I got a message. Don't pay attention to the message. Pay attention to the message. The message is your mess that you went through. And I have a title of my speech that I talk about is get in front of your ugly. A lot of us need to address the things that's going along with us before we start anything else new. We're building on a crowded foundation. Sweep your porch. Get a dustpan, clean it off, get the blower, blow it off, and then restart your situation. Understand who you are. Right now, I'm training. I'll be in London next week because God said my gift will make room for me. I'm not bragging. A lot of people their insecurities will say he's up there bragging. Look at his hat. He got diamonds in it. I'm not bragging at all. I'm just happy. I'm happy that y'all didn't find me hanging from the noose. I'm happy that my losses made somebody else's win. I'm happy that my examples that I did wrong will make sure that you guys don't do it wrong. Read about my story. Understand who I am. Get my book. Support it. I'm not just talking about my story. I'm talking about the art of the pivot. I'm talking about a good heart don't pay bills. Why did I write that book? Because a lot of us have good hearts getting out the military. We want everybody to win. And when you lose, nobody show up for you. I'm not going to get turned up here. I'm going to be calm because it's a small place. But at the end of the day, Sergeant Major, no, when he give me the mic, it's like Michael Jackson. I'm up here. I'm going to do my thing. I love what I do. I wake up every morning to do what I do, right? Remember, I'm going to tell my age. I'm 45 right now. 45 years old. I'll be 45 in July. So, remember the book, remember the movie, The Last Dragon? And Leroy was getting drowned in that water and he had that glow. He had to go through that so he can get that glow. The moment he was about to pass out, he came up glowing, right? Leroy, you warmed up yet? That's what you got to ask yourself. Every day you look in that mirror, you say your affirmations, you say your prayer, I am. And if somebody's saying you're doing too much, you're telling them they're not doing enough. Because I'm going to do enough. When I look in that mirror, I say, I am the #1 motivational speaker in the world. I am grateful. I am wealthy and I'm healthy. And I say that 7 times. How many times do they walk around the wall of Jericho? I'm not going to preach to you. How many times? And that wall came coming down. A faith of a mustard seed. Little, you can't even see a mustard seed. And I'm going to leave you with this. Faith is a substance of things, a hope for, and evidence of things not seen. Understand what you're doing in your life. We have an awesome speaker coming after me. He's talking about government contracts. But I guarantee you, if you don't take this or reciprocate this message, everything he said to him, you're going to waste that man's time. He came here for nothing because you're not believing in yourself. You're not understanding. You're seeing numbers. You're seeing statistics. You're seeing that you're going to get rich off the government. You're going to get rich. But if you don't fix your mindset, you're going to fail. It's a reason why that subject matter expert is here. Don't waste his time. That's why I told him, I said, I'm going to light it up right before you get on here because at the end of the day, I want them to understand. If you don't want to be here, there's a door right here. Don't waste his time. 50 people, 1 person, 100 people, we still going to tell the same thing. I'm going to still say my $25,000 message if there's 1 person here. I just ate some wings. I'm good. I missed my flight. I said, Sergeant Major, I'm going to be here for you. I got it. I fly in the morning because I couldn't wait to tell you guys. I couldn't wait to even come in here. This is a beautiful spot. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. I'm proud of you. You need to understand that. Stop waking up in the morning, pointing fingers at somebody else and pointing right back at you saying, you know what? Accountability is big. This is the reason why the military work this out at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Why do we lose that? I can't get on this stage and be my authentic self if I'm not telling myself to live that life. I'd be a hypocrite. So I told you my ugly. You know who I am. I graduate this December with my doctorate in business, not because I'm trying to flex, because I'm flexing on my culture, who I am, to these young people that's watching me. How do we get their attention? I got kids that's 25, 19, and 15. You know how we conversate? Through memes. You know how embarrassing it was to go bankrupt, and the people were sending me pictures, sending them, and they lost confidence in me. But I had to gain it back. And guess what? I'm a better version of myself today. I love you guys, and I'm proud of you, and thank you for allowing me to give this message. And listen, go on Amazon if you need them books. Get it. It's free. If you have the Amazon Kindle, get it for free. It's free right now for you. I opened it up for 30 days. Get all the books you can get. Talk about it. Share my product. And if you need somebody to come speak at your events and your conferences, because I will be at the MIC this year, I will be at the Military Creator Con. If you go on my website, you'll see every event that I'm speaking at. If you want to pop up, I'll be there. I'm signing autographs, I'm taking pictures, I'm hugging, whatever we doing, whatever we got to do. Because guess what? We got to save each other. We got to. We're tired of playing. I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
What I tell y'all? What I tell you? Are y'all motivated? Yes. Are y'all motivated? Yes. Look, that was amazing. I know y'all needed to hear that because the person that we have coming up next is the go-to guy. His name is the go-to guy for a reason. And that talk that he just gave y'all, right, is going to set it up for go-to guy, because the message that he's going to give you guys, right, is about going to an organization and selling them what you want to sell them, your gift. The government buys everything. When I say everything, everything. He's going to show you how to sell whatever you sell to the government. So you don't have to wait for the, what do they call, RFPs and the A, B, C, D, E, F, Gs and all of those other things. You don't have to wait for those. He's going to show you how to look at an organization that you want to work with and sell them your gift. Am I lying?
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
But first of all, go-to guy, Timberlake. Back before Veterans Growing America was a thing, I sat down with him and talked to him about my leadership consulting firm. And at the time, I didn't know who I wanted to do business with, so I went and looked and found the organization that I wanted to do business with, and I followed what he told me to do. And they ended up paying me a lot of money for me to talk. It blew my mind. I wasn't ready, but I was ready. And so I just want to thank you for coming here today to talk to our audience about your gift of getting people to see how they can work with whoever they want to work with. So without further ado, go to God.
I'm turning this thing on. So while technology is bringing itself up, let me start with this. I do a lot of conferences, a lot of presentations, in a lot of places, and I've earned a reputation as the person you don't want to follow. Because apparently it's hard to match whatever it is I bring to the table, and people don't want to follow me. I now know how that feels. AC on one. PC. Yep. There we go. All right. Okay, so you just got lit up. No kidding. You just got a lot of good information, inspiration. Like JR, my grandfather was a pastor, Shady Grove Baptist Church, Richmond, Virginia. 40 years senior pastor. I cannot go to Richmond without somebody coming up and remembering me, being the pastor's grandson. But it's a beautiful thing because they honor my family all the time. And what I heard from JR is you need to honor yourself more than anything. And I appreciate that. And having worked with veterans 40 years now and understanding some of the challenges that they are being exposed to, it's real. And for everyone that has worn the uniform, thank you. For everyone that has been on the home front, thank you. My dad was Army, so I understand a little bit of that. Absolutely. And so, I lived that little bit of that life, and then I've worked with him ever since. But let me talk about this, because I'm going to be out hanging out after this, and you guys can talk to me, and I'm approachable. I'm told I like to be approachable. My friend Mike will tell you that there's not a microphone, audience, or camera I don't like. I enjoy people. I enjoy the conversation. I like learning about who you are and what you do. And so to that end, what I want to talk about is federal contracting. There's probably going to be from a slightly different perspective than what you may have heard before. It all leads to exactly what Donnell was talking about. But again, it's going to be just a slightly, different approach on this. So what I want to talk to you about really is avoiding the early strikeout when you are looking at federal contracting. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of things you can do right. There's more things you can do wrong when you start looking at federal contracting. There are so many little nuances that will trip you up if you're not paying attention. And the thing is, it's really not as hard as people make it out to be, but you do have to be paying attention in order for it to not be hard. So one of the first things I want to talk about is baseball. Baseball, I played for about 4 seasons, Little League. That lost out to football, lacrosse, and wrestling. Baseball didn't stand a chance. But I was a catcher, so I had an intimate relationship with the pitcher. We knew stuff, we signaled each other, all these things. And I talk about baseball because the analogy to compare it to federal contracting is close, because imagine baseball, how the sport would change if every batter went to the plate and had 1 strike already against them. So the chances are they'd probably be a lot more diligent and more scrutinizing of those next few pitches coming across the plate. So one of the versions of the 3 strikes I talk about is not knowing federal contracting. That's a strike everyone has. Having a new business for the first time. Trying to learn federal contracting and run a business at the same time. And then on top of that, a lot of times people will start a new product or offering while running a business for the first time, while trying to learn federal contracting all at the same time. And it's kind of a hill that you're not going to get over. So that's one version. This is a different version I want to talk about. And these are the things that are the signs and the pitches, if you will, that are going to come at you when you look at federal contracting that will absolutely take you off your game. So the first one I want to talk about is this. There's the thing we call a knuckleball. This is the first pitch. We refer to the knuckleball that way because the knuckleball is one of those pitches, if you've ever seen baseball, you've ever seen it, ball's doing all this. It's just going everywhere. And you're trying to keep your eye on it to actually take a swing at it and get a hit. And it never works out well. In federal contracting, which applies to business anywhere, the knuckleball is what we refer to as the messy middle. The messy middle is the place that almost everybody in federal contracting starts. Okay? And the messy middle, we call it that because instead of going to the beginning and understanding the marketplace, understanding maybe some of the rules and the processes, maybe a little bit of the lingo of what's going on there, we just dive in and start bidding on stuff. And one of the things I will tell you is a lot of times people don't understand that sometimes when you bid on things, depending on what form it's in, you have just entered into a legal binding contract with the U.S. government, for better or for worse. Usually for worse. And so we talk about this because, the knuckleball is, again, the ball moves very strange. You really don't know where it's going to go. Well, this is, again, one of the big places people get stuck, in the messy middle. I have companies that I teach and coach right now that have been in federal contracting for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, doing millions of dollars, and they are stuck. And they are still living in the messy middle. They come take some of the programs we do or programs other people do, and they're learning stuff for the first time because they didn't build the foundation. And so that is what I want to talk about today. Strike one, you got to watch for the knuckleball. Stay out of the messy middle. So the next one is this. The change-up. So the change-up pitch, or as we call it, the iceberg. This is actually how you get to the messy middle. And here's the reason why. You come to federal contracting. How many folks in here have ever looked at federal contracting or actively involved in it right now? Okay. So you will probably recognize someone I'm going to talk about. One of the easiest pieces of information to see in any part of federal contracting is the name and phone number and email address of the contracting officer. It's everywhere, every document, right? What if I told you that none of what they do in their job is deciding what to buy? It's strictly how to buy it. Because ultimately they're not your customer. They're the buyer for their customer who is also your customer. And so what happens then is we come into federal contracting and we see the iceberg that's above the water. So we see the contracting officers, we see the RFIs and the RFPs and the RFQs that are coming at us through sam.gov or whatever BidNet or system we decide to pay for that year. And we are just in hog heaven responding to stuff and submitting bids. And then 3 months, 6 months later, when we've spent all this time, probably a whole lot of money, and wonder why nothing has gone our way. Well, it's not because you're not qualified or smart or worthy. You simply were stuck in the messy middle. And so what we miss a lot of times are the things and the activities going on below the surface. That is talking to someone who actually develops a need, a requirement. We call them customers, program managers. When you think about it, based on what your company does, if you're in construction, the contracting officer is not your customer. Maybe it is the construction program manager, or it is maybe somebody else, a facility manager, someone like that. And a lot of companies we know have contracts, they're working with these people, and they just kind of overlook them. They know it's their customer, and they're talking to them, working with them, doing a great job, but they go out and they start looking for more contracting officers to talk to and send their capability statements and all these things, as opposed to saying, so what else are you working on, Mr. and Mrs. Customer? How does this particular thing we're working on for you now impact your 1 year, 2 year, 5 year goals? And so that's the missed opportunity. But again, you can't see those as easily because they're below the surface. And so what we end up with is, again, being stuck in the messy middle because we saw the top of the iceberg. All right? The change-up pitch got us with the knuckleball. All right? There are 2 of your strikes. So then the last one is this. This is hard to talk about. So the 12-6 curveball, the Uncle Charlie. You ever seen one of these thrown or happen? I saw it as a catcher. Literally, ball comes in right about here and then just drops out of nowhere. I'm like, I didn't know people could do that. All right, how did that pitch even happen? We talk about this because nobody cares what you do. Now, there's a lot more to this than what I'm going to give you right now. But nobody cares what you do. And I say it in the context of Blah, 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 I do IT. Blah, blah, blah. We're the best. Isn't everyone? Blah, blah, blah. Woman-owned, 8A, serviceable veteran-owned. Blah, 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 NAICS codes. My friend Mike hears me talk about this all the time. So here's the thing about NAICS codes, just for all of you folks in here, and I'm going to just let you know, I'm a lot older than JR, okay? So, I turned 61 in April. When I started in federal contracting, my first 10 years did not involve the use of NAICS codes. You know why? They didn't exist. And so people look at me like I'm losing it when I say ignore NAICS codes. And like Mike doesn't agree with me on that one, right? But he has more insight than I do. So, but the thing is this though, when you look at the use case for them, NAICS codes mean something specific. And when you start peeling them apart, you'll figure out below the surface there's a lot more stuff in there that can either work for you or work against you. So, all that said, one of the things I talk about here, when we talk about nobody cares what you do, your capability statement, think about what it is you are doing with that. You pull this capability statement together. You put on your socioeconomic information, you put on your NAICS codes, you put on whatever other information you want on there. Who do you send it to? Contracting officer. You know what the number one thing a contracting officer doesn't care about? What you do, literally. Until they are going to buy something, unless what you send them is about something on their desk, they don't care. Literally not important at all. So what if we sent something to the customer that was not a capability statement? Maybe it is a solution statement. Something that talks about the things that you do as it aligns to the goals and objectives and priorities that they've stated in these little documents that are literally posted on the agency websites, like strategic plans and their budget justifications and their performance plans and all this other information. So if we start there, reading that information, we get some insight into who the customers are, what they're doing, what's important. Then we can actually understand how to look at opportunities, how to position ourselves, and how to actually approach them to do business, well, generally before contracting is even involved in the activity. So all these things here are things that get overlooked. They're fundamentals. They're not cool, they're not sexy, they're not exciting, but they will keep your business alive, they will keep you out of jail also, and they will keep you from losing your mind, quite honestly. So, all that said, what I'll leave you with is this. When you're looking at federal contracting as something you're going to pursue, whether you're in it now or you are looking to go into it, have goals. Start there. Why is it you want to do this? What is the big picture of what this is going to do for you, your family, your community in 5 years, 10 years? Start there, start working backwards. Then you start looking at what you can do, your offerings, your abilities that you have inherently. Never minimize yourself, because whatever it is you have done for the last 5 years, 10 years, let me tell you, you're good enough. Right there. Because there's literally nothing that you can think of that the U.S. government does not buy across the board, and to the tune of $814 billion last year. And so there's opportunity out there. They will use what you do. You just have to position yourself as a problem solver. How are you going to take them from where they are now, current state, to where they want to be, future state? And this applies to any customer. A book that I would recommend for everyone. In addition to everything JR talked about in his books, Firms of Endearment. Take a look at that, and you'll understand where nobody cares what you do came from. It's actually 3 authors. I have to think of the names. I'll actually give you a link for that. But if you look up Firms of Endearment, it's literally the only one out there. And Jeff Cherry is one of the names you'll see attached to it. So I'll leave you all with this. You're welcome to take the QR code to grab a copy of the slides. You'll also get information from me to share about what we do in the American Small Business Coalition, and also some other resources that you might look at depending on where you are in your journey with federal contracting. But what I'll advise is this. Mike and I were talking about this, and Mike comes from a long history in the federal arena. I've been doing it for 40 years, and we're both saying things are kind of interesting and unique right now. But listen to what JR said. Okay, don't worry about all the things going on around you. Okay, focus on you. Believe in you. Literally, go do you. Because the opportunity's there. I have seen companies in the last 22 years of running this organization, veteran-owned especially, go from 3 people to 700 people in the course of 8 or 9 years. All right, you don't believe me? Go look up a company called Patriot Group International. All right, 2 Rangers and a Marine Corps sniper. All right, lead that company, and they have crushed it. I met them when they bought the company, and it was just 3 of them in it. So that's what I've got for you. I appreciate your having me here, and I'm available to take any questions or comments or criticisms that you have for me. Donnell, thank you very much. And
got questions?
All right. And JR will be talking too. Sir,
Got it.
How you doing?
Again, and I've been to your conferences and things like that. One, when is the next boot camp? Because that's good information for them to know. And 2, where do you see this going with contracts having to go through those, with the scrutiny of 8As now, and even native 8As?
Sure.
And I know you really focus on not just NAICS codes, but SIC codes as well, because that's a part of it. And even the restructuring of GSA and moving this from here to there. Where does a company go with all of these different changes with SPL?
Good question.
Mike, what do you think? How do I start leaning into that one just a minute?
So for those who may not know me, I was a contracting officer, finished my career as a director of acquisition at Army Human Resources Command, and I'm now the president of a native Hawaiian-owned organization. So the first thing I think I would say is don't overreact to what's in the press right now. You see attacks on the 8A program from the executive branch, this administration. I think that if you follow what's going on in Congress right now, there was a hearing last week in the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, where the 8A program as a whole, not just entity-owned, but the entire 8A program received broad bipartisan support. So I think that the 8A program will continue. I think there will be some changes. You may see some agencies that are hesitant to follow the direct award path. And Guy hit on this a little bit in what he was talking about. If your capability statement does not include capabilities that are relevant for the agency that you're trying to sell to,
Right.
You're doing it wrong. If your capability statement leads with, I am a insert socioeconomic status here, and does not say what you do, you're doing it wrong. And look, when I took over my company last year, that's exactly what my capability statements looked like. It said, I'm a native-owned 8A, you can give me a contract very easily, give me a contract. And you know, facetiously, I'll say I was at my company for a couple of weeks before I knew what we did. So I think we've all got to change our mindset and be more solution-oriented. And if you are a company that is solution-oriented, your socioeconomic status doesn't matter. And the government's still going to continue to buy things. I think we're going to go through a lean period. And I don't want to get overly political, but I will say if there is major disruption in the current status quo in November, there's going to be a huge slowdown in government procurement. just because everybody's going to be tied up with impeachments and other things for the next 2 years. That doesn't mean that the government need goes away. So, continue to craft your message about what your company does better than anybody else and get in front of the right people. As a former contracting officer, I will tell you, I didn't care what I was buying. One day I was buying staples, the next day I was buying medical services. It didn't matter to me. It's an action that I process. So you've got to get in front of the right people in the organizations. Hopefully I touched on what you were trying to get at. Okay.
That works. So, the codes are something we talk about all the time. NAICS codes, again, are what they are. What I will tell you to look at is this. If you have a SAM profile, go into that section where it talks about products and services. You will see where it asks you about NAICS codes, but you'll also see below that where they ask about another type of code called a product service code. The product service code, according to acquisition.gov, according to what the government says, is literally the description of the thing on the contract that accounts for the most dollars each time they buy it. It's literally a product and a service code. Whereas NAICS, the I in NAICS code stands for industry. All right, it's not telling you what the government does or not telling the government what you do. It tells them what you produce, but not what you actually do. So learn those, and then what you do is they're never precise. Let me just say this. So what you want to do is you want to use them for trending. When they talk about what they're buying from you, how do they classify it? And then what you want to look at is how do they use it, because what I'll tell you is everyone thinks NAICS codes, NAICS codes, NAICS codes. There are 1,100 NAICS codes in use by the government every fiscal year. There are 3,000 product service codes, and they're not married to NAICS codes. In fact, I'm pretty sure NAICS and PSC don't like each other. So, all that said, learn how to read the information, read the tea leaves to be able to understand what you're looking at. All right, it's an ongoing debate with a lot of people. Mike and I talk about it all the time, NAICS codes, PSC codes, and again, he's got inside information, on this, having worked in it, but we use it for pattern recognition, is what it comes down to. So that's what I would say. I think we cover everything for you.
We did. We got it.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Any other questions?
When is the next boot camp?
Boot camp. Oh, okay. I didn't show it up here. So we have a brand we created 16 years ago called Ethical Stalking for Government Contractors. It is a nod to my background in the U.S. intelligence community. Open source intelligence is one of the disciplines we used. And so ethical stalking is literally a business program where we teach you to employ open source techniques to gather information and understand how to connect the dots, as it were. Now, you can do this with automation. The problem is, and this is what Mike and I were talking about earlier, you're going to basically educate your tools on how to do things. And so whatever you put into that tool is how it's going to react and respond. So if you feed it NAICS codes, it's going to use NAICS codes. If you feed it PSC codes, it's going to use those. If you feed it a process that is not thorough or thought out for doing business development or gathering information, you're going to get the result. So learn the fundamentals so that you can actually function, and then apply automation and tools to it. So the next boot camp is April 28th and 29th in Bethesda, Maryland. If you go to bootcamp.theaspc.org, you can see the details. And again, you'll get information. If you get the QR code, we'll send some information about that as well. All right? Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
We're going to work. He's trying to get away.
I'm trying to escape, man.
So, I love gifts. Baby, step away. So I want to bring go-to guy and Doctor, come on up. I got a gift for them, so If y'all know anything about branding, you got to make sure that your brand is everywhere, right? And what you got to do is you got to believe in your brand, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to share. First of all, we got the best logo in the world. Look at this. Ain't this dope right here? Look at that. But what we have is that I'm gonna get this one to the go-to guy because we got that army green. His dad was a Marine, but
No, he's soldier.
he was a soldier.
He was soldier.
He was
Yep.
Army. Yeah. So on the front is the BGA logo. On the back is our motivational hashtag, Let's Grow. Right? Y'all heard Let's Go? Well, the reason why we have Let's Grow is because growing is painful. But once you do, it opens up doors. Right? On the right sleeve, this is the sleeve you go to combat with in the Army. We have heroes. Because I want you to remember that every last one of y'all is heroes in here. If you said that you would die for this country, you're a hero.
That's right.
On the other sleeve, it says leaders, because you're a leader.
Cool.
And so I want both of y'all to know that y'all leaders, y'all heroes, and y'all inspire people to grow. So thank y'all for being a part of Veterans Growing America tonight. Here as well, sir. Thank you. Doctor, this is yours. Thank you. And this one right here is actually Jasmine's. I've been meaning to give this to her, so I had to stick it on this mannequin to remind me to give it to her. It actually says her name. Look, it says Jasmine Rush on the back of it. Y'all thought I was lying, huh? Y'all thought I was lying? It says her name on here. And so she's sitting in the back taking pictures, right? And the reason why I'm recognizing her right now, number one, is most of the time, you guys don't see the people in the back taking pictures and making things happen, but in the entrepreneurship world, if you don't have pictures of it, if you don't have content, it never happened, right? And nobody will buy and believe what you're saying. The first event that we did back in 2019, it blew up. Not because it was an amazing event, it was an amazing event, one of the best events I've ever done before. And it catapulted us to where we are now. But we had a photographer and a videographer there that made the event look so crispy. We had so many phone calls. It was like, what is going on? What is this Veterans Growing thing? I've never heard of it before. I said, I know, because we started it. But she does what she does with that camera. She speaks from the lens. That's the name of her business. Grab her business card. She gonna speak from the lens that you're a vet. You're not gonna even know that she's there, but once you see that she was there, oh my God. Wait till y'all see these pictures. I'm just gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna let y'all know before. So, Jasmine, this is yours right here.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Give her a round of applause. And thank you so much. Let's give yourselves a round of applause for being here. I need y'all to do two things, right? We good until about 8 o'clock, and then y'all gotta leave. Because number one, I got to get him to the airport, but also I gotta go sleep because I'm old.
Yeah, right. He don't sleep.
I don't sleep. So, but here's what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to meet 2 to 3 people, and I need you to find out where they need help, and then share with them how you can help them. And then come back here next month, right? Bring a friend, and then bring the support that they need in order to succeed. Both of these 2 gentlemen, what they talked about, and I'm gonna summarize it in this. Number one, you need relationships.
That's the number one thing.
That's the number one thing that you need is relationships. You will not do business with the government or anybody if you don't have no relationship. People hit me up in LinkedIn all the time talking about this is what I do. I don't give a
Nobody cares what you do.
Nobody cares, right? If it doesn't solve my problem, I don't care what you do. You got to know what my problem is. You haven't even done no research on my page, but you all up in my inbox. What go-to guy said is find out what their problem is. You need to understand what their mission, their vision, their values are, and what they're buying. And sometimes they don't even know what they're buying or what they need, but if you find it out, you set the price. I'm just being honest with you. When I heard that from him, I was like, oh shoot, that's what I did as a recruiter. And then I turned it into that same language, because when I sat across from a kid to join the military, I talked about how I could support them in achieving their dreams. The government, no matter who you sell to, that's what they want. How could you help me get to wherever? If you can't help them, don't tell me about what you do. I don't care, right? And then number two, what the doctor said was you got to be passionate about what you do. You can't be afraid to talk to people about what you want, and it has to be your passion, or else you will be sick. You will finish yourself. That's why we created Veterans Growing America, so you can go after your passions. It's the hardest thing ever, right? I love this. I told y'all that I listened to what he said to do, and I'm going to share this with y'all. But I talked to a government contracting company, I'm not going to say their name, but I didn't want to work with them because it wasn't something that I was passionate about. So I raised the price to a point where I thought they were going to say no. And they said yes. I was like, dang. But it was good though, because I needed that. I was like, dang, y'all gonna pay me that much for 3 hours? So what I'm saying is, there's a lot of stuff that y'all heard tonight. Take heed of the information that you did. I did a rough summary of it, but meet with the people that's in this room. Let them know how you can support them. Open the doors for them, because the relationships that you need is in this room. You may not know it. There was a guy that came in here one time and he said, man, I came in here to get a job. I don't see no job tables. I said, dummy? I didn't say that to him really. I said it with my head. I said, everybody in that room had a job. All you have to do is tell them what type of job you're looking for, and they can walk you into the hiring authority and introduce you, and you'll have a job tomorrow. The next time he came, he asked that question, and he had a job that Monday. It was Thursday. On Monday, he had a job. So what I'm telling you is everything that you need in this room is in this room. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all got 15 minutes to network. Have fun.